The room was adorned with rich, dark woods and opulent fabric. Gilded frames held forgotten ancestors whose eyes seemed to glint in the firelight, and draped curtains pooled on the polished mahogany floor. The only light came from the fireplace, which cast flickers that danced along the walls, playing across her face, illuminating the curve of her cheek and the soft line of her jaw. She stood close to a towering mirror, though she did not see herself in it. Her eyes fixed instead on the doorway, her lips parting in a whisper only the walls could hear.
Return to me.
In this wealth and stillness, there was a desperation. Her fingers toyed with the lace at her wrists, an outward sign of the thoughts tangled inside her. As the daughter of a duke, Lady Evangeline was expected to be obedient and composed, to marry as arranged, and to avoid passion. But she had lived against these expectations, led by her heart rather than her station. She met him, a man of roguish charm and magnetic presence, at a masquerade ball, his eyes promising the sort of thrill and danger that polite society shunned. He was nothing a duke's daughter should want, and yet he had become the only thing she wanted.
Her lover had left months ago, tasked with some urgent matter of a clandestine nature. She knew only fragments of his life, snippets he'd whispered to her during forbidden nights spent in this very room. And yet her heart had tied itself hopelessly to him. She kept his letters, each scrawled with passion and unfulfilled promises hidden in her dresser. They were her talismans, reminders of a world beyond her carefully guarded life.
But tonight was different. Tonight, she had received word that he would return. The time and place were uncertain, but she knew he would come to her, to this very room. And so she waited, poised in anticipation, the silk of her dress whispering against her skin as she shifted, heart racing in the silence.
As the firelight played along the marble mantels and shadowed portraits, another, darker layer to her anticipation lay beneath her longing. For Evangeline was bound to marry a man twice her age, chosen by her family to secure wealth and position. Her engagement announcement was scheduled for the following day. She was to be married within the month. Yet she had clung to the hope that her lover's return would mean something more. Perhaps he would whisk her away, liberate her from the life she was forced into. The idea that she could choose him, even against the expectations of her family, brought a trembling hope to her chest. Her whispered pleas, soft as a breath, were fueled by the fear of losing everything she wanted.
Lady Evangeline's thoughts spiraled in endless circles, each one lingering, stoking the embers of her anticipation. She remembered the first time she saw him, an unmistakable figure among the powdered wigs and gilded masks at a ball meant for more genteel, predictable revelry. He had appeared a ghost, dressed all in dark shades, his face obscured by a mask that somehow emphasized his eyes, sharp and searching, as if they saw past her silks and trinkets and into her very heart. She'd felt exposed under his gaze, a stranger in her own world, her breath catching in her throat as he approached her with that slow, self-assured step. She felt that way now, vulnerable, yet emboldened by the memory.
But her rational mind whispered warnings against this rush of feeling. To love him as she did was a dangerous, selfish thing. He could never be acknowledged in the daylight of her world, never introduced among her family, her suitors, the attendants whose prying eyes would dismantle every secret she held dear. By society's rules, he was forbidden. Yet her heart spoke a different language, one where love was pure rebellion, burning like wildfire through the constraints of her upbringing.
Her gaze trailed from the doorway to the fire, flickering as if in echo of her thoughts. Her father's voice echoed in her mind, stern and matter-of-fact. She was to be married not for love, but for duty. She was to leave behind such frivolities and accept her fate as countless women had before her. Marriage, her father claimed, was a pact of convenience, a tether to wealth and prestige, nothing more. But with him, her lover, every touch, every shared whisper and glance, they had defied that notion, created a world all their own. She found in his arms a freedom no title, no wealth could ever offer, and in this world of theirs, she had discovered the essence of herself.
Return to me.
She murmured again, her lips brushing the air as if he might feel her words, the way he used to feel her sighs against his skin. In her mind, she could see him, the rugged tilt of his smile, the warm shadow in his gaze when he looked at her, as though he held her heart in his hand and guarded it as fiercely as a knight guards his honor. He was her sanctuary, a place of peace and of passion. When he held her, her title meant nothing, and the pressures, the obligations of her name dissolved into something weightless and distant.
A sliver of fear crept into her anticipation, curling around her thoughts like mist. What if he didn't return? What if he had been intercepted, his letter a ruse to lure her into this room for some cruel discovery? What if he had decided, oh, the thought was unbearable, to let her go, to accept that she was beyond his reach? She closed her eyes, shuddering slightly, pushing away the thought, refusing to let it cloud her hope.
For what she wanted now was more than just his presence. She wanted to escape with him, to leave behind this life that felt hollow, and to walk beside him in the open air, free of shadows and whispered secrets. She imagined him taking her hand, his fingers wrapping around hers, and they would disappear together into the night, two lovers bound not by obligation, but by the truest form of commitment, a promise born of the heart.
The warmth from the fire softened, fading slightly as the embers shifted, and in the near darkness her hope took on the delicate weight of a prayer. She would wait, no matter how long it took. If she needed to stay by the fire until dawn, she would, for there was no life, no world, without him.
Solace in their place, dancing softly, forgotten ways. Underneath the sky's painted gray, silent story she can't convey. The clock ticks slowly in the serene room. She traces dreams on the glass with fingers in bloom. Lost between the pages of life and her schemes, an unwinding road's page with unspoken dreams. Sits by the window, lost in thought, with raindrops falling. Her heart feels caught. World outside spins, but she's standing still. In dreams she wonders where time can't kill. Can you hear her sigh in the quiet of the night? Her heart's a dancer in the endless rain. Each drop a whisper calling out her name. The world turns blurry like a faded old dream. She reaches the stars, let her hear her scream. Can you hear her pale moonlight in the
Whoa.